show of hands, raise your hand if you have visited nature at the Confluence in the past year. Yay! Awesome. Thank you all for coming to visit. And if you haven't, I hope you get to soon. And I'm not sure if I'm a formal member of Sustain Rockford, but I've been a participant of meetings before. And it just makes sense that all of our nature and environmental organizations are going to work together and cross paths. And I've also worked with individuals in this room before, so that's how I'm connected, and I really appreciate the opportunity to see you all and to share some updates about nature at the Confluence, and hopefully an inspiring message. So why is nature key to sustaining our environment? That is the question that I have been posed with tonight. And we know, you know, we all need to spend time outside, especially children. You can go to the next slide. A joyful childhood and a healthy adulthood and a thriving planet depend on us spending time outside and being connected to our natural environment. Spending time in nature makes kids healthier, happier, and smarter. It also helps them become good stewards of the environment. These statements are based on a solid and growing body of research. We know that the more positive experiences someone has early in their life and throughout their life, the more they're going to care about the environment and take steps, purchase things, vote in accordance. We join the decades-long movement. We, Nature at the Confluence, joins the decades-long movement of environmental education through an urban lens. So we're located at the confluence of Turtle Creek and the Rock River in South Beloit, right on the state line with Wisconsin. And the reason that our site was chosen was those bodies of water coming together, and also the idea that there are many amazing nature preserves and forest preserves far out that you can get to by driving your car, but there's also nature everywhere. We're nature, and so building a nature center in an urban area close to, we're about a mile away from Beloit College. We're walkable from the elementary school, the junior high, and almost walkable from the South Beloit preschool, but their legs are small. So, and as well as downtown Beloit and numerous neighborhoods. So we are an urban nature center trying to make this educational programming even more accessible. And trying to share with our audience that nature is not over there. It's wherever we are. And how we treat the earth is also how we treat ourselves. So you can go to the next slide, and just a few ways that Nature at the Confluence is enacting this mission of connecting people with nature. In 2024, we had over 4,000 people visit our trails. So that's a separate count from the number of people that attend our programs or volunteer for us. Similar in 2025, we're averaging between 90 and 100 public programs that serve 2,000, if not more, people. And then around 30 field trips with schools, scout groups, homeschool groups, serving over 700 students. This year, we've had an increase in the number of schools we're reaching and the number of students that they're bringing. We are working with Riverview and Blackhawk Elementary that are part of the South Beloit School District, as well as Loves Park, Milton, Wisconsin, homeschool groups. So even though we've got Severson Dells Nature Center in the south of Winnebago County providing excellent field trips, and we have Welty Environmental Center in Beloit also providing excellent field trips for the school district of Beloit, we're in this fun little in-between space where we can catch South Beloit School District, homeschool groups, anyone else that falls through the cracks and might enjoy an outdoor field trip. We also do repeat programming with the local Boys and Girls Club, with Girl Scout groups, and other private groups. And it's really awesome to see a young student come, and maybe it's their first time putting their feet in Turtle Creek, or maybe it's their first time seeing a chrysalis up close. And that's really great, but not all of those students come back. It's maybe a 3-hour experience. The deeper impact that we really have, next slide. I actually, brief side note, this is our garden. We also grow a vegetable garden with herbs that is free for visitors. So our food system, as you know, is very entwined with nature. It's perhaps the closest way that we interact with nature on a daily basis. So we demonstrate in the gardens how folks can grow their own food and grow organically with low water inputs. So our volunteers get to reap the benefits of that, and also anyone who comes to visit is welcome to harvest. And that's what it looks like today. You can go to the next slide. And this is Moon, who actually is here tonight. And Moon was a summer intern with us 1 year ago, believe it or not. And so she got the experience of working with us for 3 months. So that was an extended experience to really get to see the place change throughout the seasons and learn about environmental education and community work through a different lens. So since I started in this position 3 years ago, I've worked with 16 different students, Moon being one of them. So each of these students had an experience that they won't soon forget, and maybe moved them to do things like become a member of Sustain Rockford, or other ways that they can help the environment in their life. So we are not only connecting people to nature at Nature at the Confluence, but we're connecting people to each other. Our world is divided, and we need to practice listening to each other, being open to new ideas and new perspectives. So a lot of our programs are nature related or start off in a nature tone, but to me, the really underlying goal is people connecting with one another. So we have, next slide, a monthly bird club. This is about our average attendance. This was in June. We met, it was awesome because we had quite some age variety. But we just get together once a month and we go birding. We learn about new birds. This year we've been doing field trips, so we visit other sites as well. But it's a way for people to meet each other. These people in our bird club have started to say, hey, where's Mike? I like how he can identify birds. I want to know what he's doing. They're checking in on each other. People who might live in different states, people from both Illinois and Wisconsin join our bird club. They might not have otherwise crossed paths. We also do a weekly volunteer day, and we've seen people over years of volunteering with us become friends. 2 of our volunteers met through our work days, and now their families go on canoe trips together. And that's it. That's why we're doing it. Also, we want them to help us pull the weeds and clear the trails. That's super helpful, but also that community building is so key. Yeah, and I just love our bird club. You can go to the next slide. Also, something that we've done in this past year is upped the branding a little bit. We got t-shirts with a custom design of the Confluence printed from Rockford Art Deli. So we share those, and that's a way that we're trying to get our name out in the community even a little bit more on top of our events and that promotion. Yeah, and we also intentionally offer events that are not just outside, but art events, music, things that people who might not already identify as a nature lover might want to come to meet someone else or to see what we're doing, to taste something in the garden. All of those are successful successes in our eyes. And our biggest improvement of 2025, next slide, is we hired a second permanent staff member. So a little history of the Confluence. Teresa Oldenburg was our founding executive director and served for 5 years in a part-time capacity. And then I came on 3.5 years ago as the first full-time salaried employee. And then we've had help from these 16, usually college students or recent college graduates, for short amounts of time. And this is the first year that we've hired someone permanently. So Eli here is our stewardship and facilities assistant. And we were able to do this because we work with the city of South Beloit. They own our land, and we have a partnership with them. And They don't charge us rent, but they don't fund us directly. And so in the last half of last year, I said, we do all of this to beautify the land and clean up the spaces. Could you help support somebody to work on our grounds plus education? And they said yes. So we're super grateful to the city of South Beloit for giving us funds from their hotel motel fund that have to go towards community building, that helps us pay Eli. We also use some of our organizational funds that come from our endowment and from individual donations. And then on the other side here is Isabel. She was scheduled to be our AmeriCorps member this summer, and we have benefited for years from the AmeriCorps program. I did 2 AmeriCorps terms myself. Eli did 2 AmeriCorps terms before getting to this point, and we've discussed how essential it has been for so many people in the environmental conservation realm, environmental ed, these types of jobs. So many of us had an experience with AmeriCorps. In May, we found out the funds were cut, but our board knew that we needed Isabel's help. We have a very full summer schedule of programming, and we had to have another person to make it possible. So we've been using funds from our savings to pay her hourly. Very recently, we got word that some AmeriCorps programs are partially reinstated. So now Isabel will have 100 hours of her time paid for by AmeriCorps. There's a lot of specifics and contracts that have to take place with AmeriCorps. It's really not easy to just turn it back on now. But we are grateful that that will offset 100 hours of her time this summer, and then the Nature at the Confluence is paying for the rest of her time. But I just wanted to share that about what our staffing model looks like right now. It's a goal of mine to get it to the most sustainable place possible. And even though this is my favorite thing and it's an absolute joy to work this job, anything is less sustainable when it is relying on just one person. So having a second permanent person is really helping us know that we can continue into the future. And then during the school year, we're really lucky to work with Beloit College students. Their campus is really interested in getting students off-campus experiences and professional experiences. So at very little cost to us, we're able to have consistent help from Beloit College students during the school year. And hopefully it's a engaging, impactful educational experience for them to understand what they like or don't like about working at a small nature center nonprofit. Also, everything that we do wouldn't be possible without a lot of volunteer help. This morning we had 10 volunteers who worked for 2 hours, and the amount that we accomplished was exponential and would have taken me or Eli multiple days. So we have volunteers who help with our trails, our prairie, our gardens. We also have volunteers help with our events, our field trips, or just advising. Folks from the Natural Land Institute, from the Rockford Park District, from Nettle Compost, from Severson Dells and Welty, all give advice and help steer us in the right direction. So that brings me to our next slide, which is a picture of our prairie. We have some echinacea and some rattlesnake master, and so many colors blooming right now. But a healthy prairie, or any healthy ecosystem really, is diverse. There's going to be some decay and some death. It's going to be constantly changing. There's going to be birth, and it grows in biodiversity every year. I'm really proud of our prairie, especially this summer, because there's such a diversity of plants. And it's been an uphill battle to get that in our land that has not always been respected. So we trust, and then we see that each year the strength and biodiversity of this prairie is growing when there's an absence of threats. And what does a healthy biodiverse prairie have in common with us? We also thrive when we're diverse. There's seasons of decay, there's seasons of birth and regrowth, and there's lots of different things working together. We're not all blooming at the exact same time, just like the flowers in our prairie. This is a small number of the organizations that we work with in any given year. Some of our sponsors, some are organizations with similar missions, but all of these groups have given us a hand in some way and made our work possible. Some of these groups share money with us, some their resources or their knowledge or their space. And again, not all, but this is how we are successful, is because of this ecosystem of support, and we are so grateful, and grateful that Sustain Rockford is part of that. In May, we had our summer kickoff event. It was compost themed, and a team from Sustain Rockford offered a kids activity during the event. So partnerships like that we're very grateful for. And next, I didn't print it out, but if you want to take pictures of the slides, these are some of our upcoming events. This one happened yesterday. I just wanted to chat about it for a sec because it was really, as a mother put it, magical. We had a Girl Scout do her Gold Award, similar to a Boy Scout Eagle project. She helped grow this invasive purple loosestrife plant and a specific type of beetle that feeds on purple loosestrife enough to reduce the population or stop the population from multiplying. She worked on that with me throughout the year, and last night she gave an educational presentation to an audience of about 30 people and then released hundreds of beetles onto our purple loosestrife. And that's just one example of an educational program that we offer free to the community. And that happened last night. But another upcoming event this Thursday is our Community Fire and Drum Circle. This is a monthly series we offer very specifically for those maybe less nature interested folks, because it takes place right up front in our building by our fire. So David Stocker brings his van full of drums. Other folks bring their own instruments. We make music, we have a fire, and just enjoy each other's company. Tomorrow at 6:30, we'll have a mini belly dance lesson at 6, and then at 6:30, the drum circle starts. So if you're feeling like you need some intentional movement in your life, that's totally free, mini lesson, like low commitment, but a local instructor who teaches belly dancing at the YMCA will be offering that, followed by guided drumming. And this is an example of an event that we provide free to the community thanks to businesses that sponsor and offset our costs. Next one. This Saturday, we're trying a new event we haven't done before. We're partnering with Snowdrift Coffee Roasters. They're based in Roscoe, Illinois, and it's a couple that are really passionate about coffee, really knowledgeable. They actually will hand deliver your coffee order of beans or grounds to your house if you live close enough to their location. So they'll be offering a complimentary sample of their cold brew, sharing about the botany of coffee, how climate change is affecting the coffee production, answering questions about coffee roasting, and then we'll go on a caffeinated hike. That one is also free because Snowdrift Coffee Roasters insisted that it be no barrier to attend. And then one more event I want to mention. Next week, very special, we'll be having Bill from the Ho-Chunk Nation of Wisconsin and Amy, who is the Wisconsin State Archaeologist, at our site to explain about recent discoveries that they've had related to the dugout canoe, to its history, its technology, its uses. They'll be bringing an actual dugout canoe and putting it in Turtle Creek and allowing people to sit and paddle in the canoe if you would like to, which is a cool experience to have, but also very cool that the Turtle Creek is sacred waters to the Ho-Chunk people. The Ho-Chunk were the last native group to be at the site that we are located on, so we're really grateful that they want to come back and share. So that presentation will be next Wednesday from 5 to 7 at Nature at the Confluence. And we have even more events happening, but you can find them on our website or our Facebook page. And this is my contact information. Does anyone have questions? Yeah.
You talked about canoes a couple times. I want to talk about kayaks. Is there ever a vision to put a takeout there on the most beautiful stretch of water Turtle Creek.
We would love to, and there used to be a really smooth gravel entryway, and then a large rainfall happened and flooded it away. Just this past week, Eli spent hours building a staircase out of logs and gravel so that our youth visitors can gently enter into the creek, and I guarantee you it will not be there in a month, because when we have major rain events, Turtle Creek gets super high and wide and fast.
I was up there 3 or 4 days ago. It was like unbelievable.
So we have talked about this a lot as an organization, that we would love to have a safer, better boat entry, but it would need a lot of concrete.
Exit, you know, you can enter.
Yeah.
Beloit there real easy. They got a nice entry in Beloit to go down the rock, but exiting Turtle Creek, that's such a beautiful stretch, and there's no place to take out.
It's one of those, like, the land that you step out onto, it is sometimes underwater, sometimes for weeks at a time, and so I think the best solution would be a big piece of concrete that would cost so much money we haven't considered it yet.
So the whole chunk, you're going to be down toward the Rock River, where you have easier access to the creek there, I'm guessing, because near the...
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to get the dugout canoe in and out. I told them it's rustic, and they said, we really want to do it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I have a quick question?
Yeah.
So you had what I've always been super impressed by is the diversity of the program offerings. I was wondering what percentage of those kind of just come from you visiting a place and thinking, what the heck, I'm going to ask them if they want to do this, and what percentage are people coming to you, and like how you kind of do that work and keep those programs so diverse?
Thank you. Yeah, I really love it when community members come and say, can I offer this program, or can you offer this program? Maybe like 10 to 20% of our programs are that, is what it feels like to me. But what we're doing more and more is repeat events, because they're more successful. We know people are going to attend Bird Club. We know people are going to come to story time because it's weekly. The one-off events like the coffee or the dugout canoe, it's always a question of, are people going to come? So I've been shifting less to the one-off unless it feels like somebody is really going to bring their people to it. But also I'm always going to visit other nature centers and get ideas there. Yeah, this slide is because Brad said to prepare in case no one had questions. And in case you're wondering what I'm reading, this is what I'm reading recently. If anyone would like to discuss. But
Alan, could you grab that thing in the middle of the table there? So at the annual banquet for Keep Northern Illinois Beautiful, Julie Uram, our very own Julie Uram here, was honored with one of those awards, as was Sustain Rockford. So we're award winning.
thank you.
My wife calls me a blooming something or other, but I'm not sure what it is. And I've had a lot of people work with me, and it's been a memorable experience, but for different reasons probably. And the event that we had, the composting, can you kind of let people know what that was all about?
Yeah, and that
'Cause
happened.
That was cool.
That happened because Sustain Rockford reached out, the League of Women Voters of Beloit reached out, and maybe even some other groups, and said, we want to do a composting event. And I said, what if instead of a whole bunch of them, we do one big one? We also did a compost workshop that was kind of like Compost 2.0 for adults, and that was great. But then we had a big free drop-in family-friendly compost event where Sustain Rockford offered compost in a bag for kids. The South Beloit Public Library offered story time with books related to composting. Nettle Curbside Compost was there with a worm bin to show kids how that works. Randy from Farmers Rising was in our garden giving demonstrations of how we use compost in the garden. The League of Women Voters gave out native plants. So it was just a really fun collaboration event. And Mary was there.
Some of you may know that Sustain Rockford held a Greentown conference in 2021, and we had a sellout crowd at the Embassy Suites. We had 500 people, 160 students, and one of the most popular breakout sessions was the one on nature. And I remember Ashley Sarver, some of you know her, she offices right upstairs here as an architect in the architect's firm, but she said, I'm going to go out and be in nature 45 minutes every day because it's going to make me healthier. What's that about now? Is that right? Or
100%.
yeah?
Yeah, I
But
mean,
you said there's data on that.
yeah, research shows that just being outside, even actually listening to the sound of rain or looking at pictures of beautiful flowers or mountains, those things can calm down our heart rate. They can lower our stress levels, our cortisol. Those are all like the nervous system building blocks that help us maintain functioning. And so to go outside intentionally, to slow down and to notice details, it helps your brain and your body. But then usually when you're outside, you're doing something active, whether it's walking or bending down, biking, any of those types of things. That activity is good for our body. That was actually one of my points I didn't say, is that if you need another call to action tonight, other than the great ones that Brad mentioned at the beginning, it's to go out and slow down and notice something really small out in nature, and remember that when the world feels really big and overwhelming, there's so much complexity just below our feet.
Yeah, that's just great. How many of you have been to Nature on the Confluence? Have you been to their facility? Oh, that's really good. You should be proud of that. If you
Good job,
haven't,
folks.
I really recommend it. It's not really out of the way. It's easy to get to. How would you describe getting there?
Behind Papa John's.
South Way.
Yep.
Yes.
From North Main, right up here, you just go straight until you get there. It's on Black Hawk or Route 2. Route
I
1?
used to have that muffler shop up there. I've dealt with them.
Yeah, right by Dahlman's Muffler. You can find us on Google Maps. It's easy to miss our turn-in because we're on a little road. There's talks to eventually have a different entrance that would be a little further south, that'd be easier to pull in and out of, and that will hopefully happen in the next few years. Development's coming.
And I went there for the first time a couple of years ago, and wow, I was so impressed. They have a really nice facility for meetings and stuff like that. So if you're ever thinking about, gee, it'd be nice to go someplace for a walk, that's a great place for a walk, or all of the other things that you have. And adult composting is not what you think it is. It's not composting adults. There are other things that, where they do that, but not this, right?
Yes.
I'm getting that right.
Yes.
So let's thank Julie for coming and
Thank you very much.